Welcome to Education Today. I'm Ariana Perella of Armstrong High School in the Armstrong School District. Today we're going to take a look in at the Hawks View, a club in our high school. The Hawks View is a group of students who work together to create issues that entertain and inform the staff and students. Here to talk more about this is Editor-in-Chief Cerise Bloss. Welcome to Education Today. Please tell us briefly about yourself and your roles with the Hawks View.
I am Editor-in-Chief of the Hawks View, and that means that I have to make sure that everyone knows their job and what they're doing, and I have to make sure that the issues have a set amount of articles for each month so that one issue doesn't have 5 articles and the next one has 20. They're more of a consistent amount.
How long have you been involved in the newspaper here at AHS?
I've been involved with the newspaper here since the first year that we had it. I was at the first meeting and I've just been involved with it ever since. There was just a big change whenever Mrs. Contrail switched over from the newspaper advisor to Mrs. Kidder. So we had to readjust, and it was almost as if we had a completely new newspaper.
Tell us some more about the Hawks View.
The Hawks View is a paper that is printed at least. We try to aim for every 2 months within the school, and we distribute it during seminar and lunch periods for a reasonable cost.
How often does the newspaper meet?
The newspaper meets on the first and second Wednesdays and the last Wednesday of the month for about 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how long of a time we need.
How many people are in the newspaper?
Around 20.
What kinds of positions do students have?
Students take on a bunch of different roles within the paper. They can be heads of each department. So we have a couple different departments. We have the arts department, and so students can head that, or the sports department, which just means that they will make sure that their department has enough issues and that there's people assigned to each issue, and they make sure that those people turn in their articles each month, and they also get a say in what kinds of issues go into that department.
How do those positions get decided?
At the end of the year, we have a ballot and everyone votes on it. And so that's how we decide positions that have more of a leadership role, such as the editor-in-chief, the assistant editor, and the people that actually format the paper and make sure everything's spelled correctly. And as for the department heads, that's decided on by our, the editor-in-chief, editor, teacher advisor. We go and we vote on who gets to lead each department based on a paper that they turn in saying why they think they'd be a good fit.
What does being a member entail?
Being a member means that you have to make sure that you are up to the commitment of writing an article and turning it in on a consistent basis. So you have to make sure that you realize that there is a deadline, and if you don't meet the deadline, we don't have anything to print in our paper.
What types of skills do members need?
Members need to know how to do time management, how to have a conversation with someone where you can make them feel comfortable and share things about their whatever you're interviewing them about, and you need to know how to write, at least not a great level, but just a proficient level so that other people can read it and understand what you're trying to communicate to them.
What kinds of skills do students learn?
Students that don't already have those skills tend to learn them as they go along. So we've had 7th graders that come in that might not know how to write an article, but we have packets and older students that are there to lead them and guide them.
Are there students in this that plan on majoring in journalism?
Yes, I know that our marketing manager plans on going to college for journalism, and I plan on minoring in journalism. So it's really great because it's not a large-scale newspaper, and it's not very rigid of a structure, so it's a great introduction to learning just a few small details about journalism.
How do you decide on articles?
We decide based on our first meeting of the month. We'll have people pitch different article ideas, and then we have our regular basic articles that we fall back on, such as we have a monthly DIY, so it's usually based on a do-it-yourself project that you can do based on the time of year. So we have our regular articles that are more of like a serial, so we'll have like a teacher interview, but we also have special articles that are specific to that special edition.
And how do you assign those to different students?
We assign them to different students based on whoever feels that they are up to the task of writing that article. Typically, if you're in a department, so Say at the beginning of the year you joined the art department, you'll be expected to write arts articles because that's your interest. But if we do need students to pick up different articles, they can do that.
Do students have the chance to suggest articles?
Yes, as I said, at the first meeting of the month, students can pitch different article ideas, and we like to listen to everyone's opinions on what they would like to see in the paper, and everyone has a chance to voice their opinion.
All right, thank you. We are going to take a short break and then be back with more of Armstrong School District's Education Today. Stick around.
Success. We see it every day. Hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes, internationally known faculty who are committed to your success. Real-world experiences to guide you on your career and life path. An alumni network 120,000 strong. I'm IUP President Mike Driscoll. Visit us. Find your success at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
I'm Indiana County Sheriff Bob Fyhawk. We are all proud of Indiana County, but we must be worried about the negative growth of drugs and alcohol abuse. It is the responsibility of all of us, parents, teachers, and community leaders, to provide the best possible education to our youth in the prevention of drug and alcohol abuse. The law is a deterrent, but education is still our best protection. Help keep Indiana safe and drug-free. For more information on how to talk to your kids about drugs and alcohol, go to the abovetheinfluence.com, brought to you by the Armstrong Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
It's hard to explain. It just became home. There are hundreds of majors and programs, bachelor's degrees to PhDs, small classes and faculty that really get to know you. Amazing internships and everywhere, programs that help to find a job that is right for you. It's what IUP is about, a commitment to your success. See it for yourself. Visit us, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Find your success.
Hi, I'm Jen McCroskey. I'm a prevention specialist with the Armstrong Indiana Clarion Drug and Alcohol Commission. Hey parents, put your drug knowledge to the test. Attend a free teen scene program. Learn about signs and symptoms of drug use and abuse, current drug trends, resources for help, and view a large display of items where drugs can be hidden. For more information, call 724-354-2746, extension 309 to schedule a program today. Brought to you by the Armstrong Indiana Drug-Free Communities Coalition.
We are back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. Tonight we are talking about the AHS newspaper, the Hawks View. Here to talk to us is Editor-in-Chief Cerise Books. When do you usually sell the newspaper?
We usually sell the newspaper around the week that it comes out. So there's no dedicated set week that we sell the newspaper at. We just wait to see whenever we are able to print it, which depends on, sometimes it's upheaved by snow days or field trips, or there's sometimes just weeks where there's a lot of activities going on, and so it's really hard to get the paper out because the administration doesn't want us going around doing seminars if there's testing going on. So we have to wait until there's an okay time for us to go around to different seminar rooms and just say like, hey, the paper's here, is anyone interested in buying it? And then we have a booth at the different lunches where students can come up and be able to purchase the papers for however the set amount is.
How many people usually buy the paper?
It depends with each issues. So we have two different kinds of issues currently on the market right now. We have our regular editions, which is a normal paper, but it's covering 2 different months. So there's a lot of information in this one paper, and we usually sell it for slightly less because it's usually not in color. And so not a lot of students are interested in that one because it doesn't have the special articles in it that are in our special editions, which we sell in the winter and spring, which are colorful. They cover really popular topics such as prom, homecoming, the volleyball, different sporting events that were really big. and it has chances for puzzles that students can complete in order to win prizes such as free coffee shop coupons. So those are the papers that we really try to push to the students and faculty here, and they're our main sellers, and so that's how many people, so a lot of people tend to prefer to buy those ones.
How do you advertise the paper?
We typically make an announcement on the morning announcements and the evening announcements and put up posters around the school.
How do you sell papers outside the school?
We actually tried to do that a couple years ago, but because it's hard to get them out on a consistent basis because of all the different activities and events that are happening in the school, we're not really ready to go to businesses. We hope in about 3 years maybe to try to make it available at different local businesses such as ones in Katanning or ones that are related to students that are actually part of the paper.
How has the internet changed things?
The internet has really revolutionized the way that we do things. So in the past, you had to turn in your articles through flash drive to your teacher advisor, and now you can just share it on Google Docs. There was also, it also had to be a lot more in person, so it was harder and more of a commitment to being a newspaper, whereas now you can do everything online. You can write your article online and share it with your teacher advisor online, and you're also sometimes able, if you have an interview with a teacher, and the teacher says, hey, I'm really busy during school hours, is it okay if I just email you my responses to your questions? You're able to do things like that now, so there doesn't have to be as much face-to-face contact as there was in the past. And that does make some students more comfortable with entering into interviewing teachers, because when it's face-to-face, they get nervous. They're not really sure if they're asking questions that make sense. So the online format makes it easier for them. They can see what they're asking. The teacher has time to read it and process and really think about the questions that the student is asking, and it makes everyone feel more comfortable sometimes with that. And then as they get more familiar with the process, they can actually go to teachers in real life and to face them. And there's also the new innovation that we're trying to do, which we're trying to switch to an online format, so it's easier for students to access the paper and for other people to access the paper. If they don't bring money with them to school, they can, maybe in the future we're going to have a monetary thing where they can purchase the paper online or just be able to access it online. And we're trying to have a monetary gain for us, because we're asking clubs to send us their announcements that they would like to have the whole school know. And we want to have a board on our online website where they can post that information for a small fee, and it'll just be a new way for us to gain money so that we can make more colored issues.
How can students access the online edition?
Currently, we're still building our website. There's a lot that goes into building a website, more than you'd expect, especially since we're using Google Sites. We're trying to figure out if we should have it organized by departments or by time or by issue. There's just a lot of different factors that go into it, and we're also trying to decide when we should launch it, because we started talking about it at the beginning of the year, and if we had decided to launch it in the middle of the year, that would have been a great time, but it was not ready for then, and we feel like launching it in the middle of the spring would just be a strange time to launch something new, so we're thinking about holding it off until next year.
Why did you decide on Google Docs?
We decided on Google Docs over other sites because it's a free site that a lot of students are familiar with. They do projects based on different curriculums and other classes using Google Sites. So we have students that have knowledge with it already, and it also allows us to make it only available to students and faculty within our school, which we feel might be a bit more comfortable for students and teachers, because if it was available to the entire world online, we feel like teachers might be more reluctant to share their interviews and stuff because they don't want anything being misinterpreted. But if it is being able to be read by just those that know the people and that are familiar with this area, it would be a lot safer for a lot of people involved, because parents might be more scared to let their kids join the paper if their name is out there on the internet. But if it's available only through students within the Armstrong School District and faculty within the Armstrong School District, we feel like that'd be more of a better option.
Who handles the online edition?
We currently have a couple students that are in charge of formatting and getting it up and running, but we're all focused on trying to get it up.
Are you planning on extending the newspaper in any other aspects?
We've played around with a lot of different ideas, such as we used to have a monthly paper, but it was hard to get that out, so now we have every 2 months we have a paper, and we have our special editions. So in the future, next year, that might change. We might be doing a monthly, we might be doing only our special editions and just be focusing on the online aspects. And we also played around with the bird bath. I don't know if anyone's ever seen those. They're posted by the water fountains, and they're just short little snippets of things that have been going on within the last 2 weeks that people might be interested in reading about or knowing what's upcoming, articles such as that. So just little articles that aren't big enough for a full paper, but we would still like students to be informed about.
What can we expect with the new edition?
The new edition is going to be focusing on things that happened in January, February, March-ish. So we'll be talking about the different sports that went on during this time, such as I know that the ski club is going on a new trip soon. So even though they're not a sport, they're a club, we cover them in our around that section. So we talk to some students that are in ski club, and we ask them what kinds of things they learned from their last trip and if they're looking forward to the new trip and things such as that. We're also going to have puzzles that are based on the holidays that happened during this time, and we're going to have DIYs and different poems and selected works from different students, because we do like to reach out to other faculty in ways. Like we'll ask faculties if they have any students in their classes that have ever like written something or created a poem or a drawing that like really stood out and they'd like to feature in the paper. We don't want it to just be something that is central to just our club. We would also like it to be something that everyone in the school feels a part of, which I feel like not many people have really realized that yet. Some people aren't really sure that AHS has a newspaper, which is really sad. So we're trying to reach out to some other faculty that have English classes and say, hey, if you have a student that has written a really touching poem that is that they feel comfortable sharing with the school, even if it's anonymously, we can put that in there, because we would really like to showcase different works from students.
What benefits people by supporting the newspaper?
People benefit by joining the newspaper by knowing that they are supporting a group of hardworking students that aren't just sitting around in the school just going by on their day-to-day life. They've joined a club that really helps out the faculty and students by making us feel like more of a community, and it supports students that are interested in broadening their writing and experiences, and it helps students that aren't sure what to major in get a feel for what a journalism or English type field would be like to be in. And they also are supporting a club that is a nice part of our school to have, because a lot of schools don't have school newspapers, and we feel like AHS is a better place by having one.
That's our show for tonight. We hope you learned a bit more about the Armstrong High School newspaper. This is a great activity for students to be involved in. I'd like to thank our guest, Cerise Blows, newspaper editor-in-chief and student. I'd also like to thank all the newspaper staff and other students and faculty who purchase and support the Hawks View. We also need to thank our film crew. Today we had Armstrong High School students led by Mr. Swanson. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. DVD copies of this and all Education Today programming can be requested by contacting Chris Garetano at the Armstrong Junior-Senior High School. Visit our website for updated news and information about the district. Have a great week.